The South Atlantic, a vast expanse of water, yet a crucial artery for global trade. For centuries, nations have vied for control of these waters, understanding that to control the South Atlantic is to hold the keys to a kingdom of wealth and power. At the heart of this struggle lies the River Plate region, a vital trade route connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. As the world stood on the brink of war in the late 30s, this region would become even more critical. The British, with their formidable naval forces including HMS Exeter, HMS Ajax, and HMS Achilles, were determined to protect their interests. Meanwhile, Germany, flexing its naval might with the Admiral Graf Spee, a pocket battleship with a reputation as ominous as its name, was equally resolute. Two mighty forces drawn into a dance of power and strategy, this serene landscape was about to become a battleground. The British, determined to protect these vital shipping lanes, were on the hunt. The South Atlantic was a vast and treacherous ocean, teeming with danger and uncertainty. The British naval forces, led by the powerful ships HMS Exeter, HMS Ajax, and HMS Achilles, were on a mission to locate and neutralize the formidable German pocket battleship, Admiral Graf Spee. This wasn't just a chase, it was a strategic game of chess on the high seas. The British, aware of the Graf Spee's firepower and speed, knew that a direct confrontation could be disastrous. Instead, they chose to play a waiting game, using their superior numbers and strategic positioning to corner the German battleship. Meanwhile, Graf Spee, under the command of Captain Hans Langsdorff, was not idle. The ship, a marvel of German engineering, was causing havoc among the British merchant vessels. Using its advanced radar and heavy artillery, Graf Spee successfully attacked and sank several British ships, causing significant disruption to the crucial supply lines. This only heightened the British resolve. The Admiralty in London, receiving constant reports of Graf Spee's success, knew that they had to act swiftly to protect their ships and maintain control of the South Atlantic. And so, the tense game of cat and mouse continued. The British fleet, constantly on the move, utilizing their intelligence and strategic prowess to predict Graf Spee's next move. On the other side, Captain Langsdorff, aware that he was being pursued, used every trick in the book to evade capture, pushing his ship and crew to the limits. As the days turned into weeks, the stakes couldn't be higher. The British knew that they had to stop Graf Spee before it could cause any more damage. For Captain Langsdorff and his crew, the goal was to stay one step ahead, to continue their mission and return to Germany victorious. The stage was set, the players were ready. The South Atlantic, once a peaceful ocean, was now a battleground, echoing with the sounds of booming cannons and screeching shells. The game of cat and mouse was about to reach its climax. On December 13th, 1939, the game of cat and mouse turned into a full-fledged battle. The South Atlantic, a vast expanse of water, became a chessboard where three British ships, the HMS Exeter, HMS Ajax, and HMS Achilles, and the formidable German pocket battleship, Admiral Graf Spee, jostled for dominance. The British ships, patrolling the shipping lanes, spotted the silhouette of the Graf Spee on the horizon. The sighting was a shock, yet there was an immediate mobilization on the British side. The game was afoot. The British, aware of the Graf Spee's firepower, knew that they were up against a formidable opponent. The battle that ensued was a dance of death, a ballet of destruction. The British ships, smaller but nimble, darted around the Graf Spee, which responded with a barrage of fire. The naval engagement was a spectacle of tactical maneuvers, each side trying to outwit the other. The British ships zigzagged across the ocean, using their speed and agility to their advantage. The Graf Spee, on the other hand, used its superior firepower to try and keep the British at bay. The battle was not without its cost. The British ships took a pounding. The Exeter, in particular, bore the brunt of the Graf Spee's onslaught. Its superstructure was battered, its guns silenced. The Ajax and the Achilles, though they avoided the Graf Spee's concentrated fire, were not unscathed. The Graf Spee, too, wasn't immune to the British assault. The British shells found their mark, causing significant damage to the German ship. In the midst of this chaos and destruction, one cannot forget the human element. The sailors on both sides fought bravely, facing the barrage of enemy fire with determination and courage. They were not just pieces on a chessboard, but individuals fighting for survival for their countries, for their comrades. The Graf Spee, heavily damaged, sought refuge in Montevideo, Uruguay. The British, despite their own damages, were not far behind. The cat and mouse game had turned into a battle, and the battle into a chase. The British ships, like hounds on a hunt, trailed the Graf Spee, waiting for their chance to strike again. But for now, the battle had reached a temporary pause. The Graf Spee was in neutral waters, under the protection of the Uruguayan government. The British ships, licking their wounds, waited outside the harbour, biding their time. The battle had unfolded, but the war was far from over. The British ships waited outside the harbour as diplomatic tensions rose. The Battle of the River Plate had reached a critical juncture. The formidable German pocket battleship, the Admiral Graf Spee, damaged and cornered, sought refuge in the neutral port of Montevideo, Uruguay. The British ships, HMS Exeter, HMS Ajax, and HMS Achilles, held a vigil on the edges of territorial waters, their steely gaze fixed on the German battleship. The world watched, breath held, as a tense standoff unfolded. The British were resolute, determined to prevent the Graf Spee from escaping, while the Germans were caught in a web of international diplomacy and maritime law. The Uruguayan government, faced with the tricky task of maintaining neutrality, imposed a 72-hour limit on the Graf Spee's stay. As the hours ticked away, the German ship's fate hung in the balance. The British, cunningly, spread misinformation about their reinforcements, adding to the pressure on the Graf Spee. Finally, Captain Langsdorff of the Graf Spee made a decision that would echo through the annals of naval history. Faced with the prospect of a seemingly insurmountable British naval force and the desire to save his crew from unnecessary harm, he ordered the scuttling of his own ship. On December 17, 1939, as the sun began to set, the Graf Spee was scuttled, sinking to the depths of the River Plate estuary, a symbol of German naval power laid to rest. A pall of smoke shrouded the harbour as the mighty battleship descended beneath the waves, its guns silenced forever. The British celebrated this as a victory, a testament to their resolve and strategic prowess. The Graf Spee's sinking was a significant blow to German naval prestige and a morale boost for the British and their allies. In the grand scheme of the Second World War, the Battle of the River Plate was but a single engagement in a far larger conflict. Yet its repercussions were felt far and wide, setting the stage for the ongoing struggle for dominance at sea. The Graf Spee was scuttled, sinking to the depths of the River Plate estuary. The Battle of the River Plate was over, but its reverberations were felt far and wide. In the heart of the South Atlantic, an early yet significant naval battle had played out. The echoes of this encounter would ripple through the corridors of time, setting the tone for the maritime conflicts of World War II. In the immediate aftermath, the British forces were invigorated. The formidable German pocket battleship, Admiral Graf Spee, had been defeated, forced to scuttle in the neutral harbour of Montevideo, Uruguay. This victory boosted British morale, instilling a newfound confidence in their naval prowess. A David and Goliath story was unfolding on the world stage, where the smaller British fleet had outmaneuvered and outlasted the powerful German adversary. Yet, the Battle of the River Plate was not just about a single victory. It was a demonstration of the vulnerability of German naval power. The seemingly invincible pocket battleship, touted as a symbol of German might, had been brought to its knees. This was a stark reminder that despite their impressive arsenal, the German forces were not invincible. It was a wake-up call, a reality check that would shape the strategies of the Allied forces in the battles to come. But let's not lose sight of the bigger picture. The Battle of the River Plate was more than a clash of titans in the South Atlantic. It was a pivotal moment in a global conflict, one battle in a longer, more complex war. It was a testament to the strategic importance of the sea lanes, a foreshadowing of the intense struggle for maritime dominance that would characterize World War II. In the grand scheme of things, this battle was a spark, a catalyst that set the stage for an ongoing struggle for dominance at sea. The Battle of the River Plate was not just a battle, it was a prelude, a harbinger of the epic naval confrontations that were yet to come. This battle set the stage for the ongoing struggle for dominance at sea during World War II.